Hello and welcome. My name is Stephen Greider, and I am here to teach you everything that I know about GraphQL and React. Before we get started with any code, I want to cover a couple of frequently asked questions about this course and give you a better idea of how it's structured. First, I want to tell you a little bit more about what we're going to be covering in the coming sections. We're first going to be discussing why GraphQL exists. GraphQL has the interesting distinction of being a technology where it's very important to understand what problem it intends to solve. Once you understand what GraphQL attempts to solve, understanding it starts to become a lot easier because you're able to frame all the different challenges of the framework into understanding why we're using it in the first place. After we talk a little bit about why GraphQL exists, we'll talk a little bit about exactly what it is. So, what is GraphQL? If it is meant to solve some existing problems, how is it going to solve it? What does it really do for us? Finally, we'll talk about how we use GraphQL. So how do we make use of GraphQL on our backend applications, and how do we actually wire that up to our React front end? So this last step right here, of course, going to be the very longest section of the course, and will be the bulk of everything that we cover. Now, before we get started with anything else, just one last quick slide, a couple of frequently asked questions and answers that I get throughout all of my different courses. First, I use Balsamiq mockups to create all the different diagrams that you'll be looking at inside this course. I've used many different types of diagram tools. I found Balsamiq has the best mix of being easy to use and quick to put diagrams together, but the diagrams that are generated also look really nice, which is a nice little benefit. Next, I use Atom for my code editor. You're free to use absolutely any code editor that you like. There's absolutely no requirement to use Atom. You can use Sublime, WebStorm, TextEdit, anything you want. Totally up to you. Finally, for my terminal, I make use of iTerm with Z Shell. So if you want to get the same looking command prompt that I do, you can grab iTerm and Z Shell and you'll get something right out of the box that looks pretty much identical to what I use. Okay, so that's it with frequently asked questions. Let's get started with the real interesting content in the next section.